Welcome back to another edition of KJ's What Happened. This is going to cover the last couple of weeks, but sometimes I don't stay within structure, so some of these stories may go a little bit further back. Some of them may go into the future. We never really know what we're going to do on this show. No, but really, thanks for being here if you're new. We're going to cover some of the stranger news, also a lot of news that gets buried. And as time goes on and the censorship grows on every platform, I'm even seeing news stories that need to be out there that typically you would think would be in the mainstream are getting buried more and more and more. And I'm going to show you some of that tonight. My name's KJ, and let's go ahead and get started. I have a bit of an announcement, but I'll save that till the very end. Otherwise, thanks again for being here, all kidding aside. Thanks to the moderators. I haven't even seen the chat, so I'm not sure who's here. But really, it's all about you guys. It's all about us as a community, and I really appreciate, talking about all these subjects with you. Always, please feel free to engage in the chat. Let us know your thoughts and feelings on some of what we're going over this evening, and even in the comment sections below afterwards. Let's go ahead and get started. Right here, cashless monopoly. Is this the final nail in the coffin for physical money? I mean, this is a pretty big sign, if you will, when it comes to the cashless society. And we're seeing this in other areas as well. Not just in games. We're seeing this, actual corporations are pushing this. The end of cash. You could say it's a biblical sign of the one world currency, the one world system, the one world religion. I remember, this is a way back, but I was in the Coast Guard. I was in there active duty for 8 years. My first tour was in Kodiak Island, Alaska. That was tough. That's a tough place to be. Seasonal affective disorder is a pretty regular occurrence out there. But I remember going through the airport back then, and I was heading to Kodiak from where I lived at the time. And these people were handing out little pamphlets about the New World Order. And I couldn't get enough of that stuff. I mean, even before that, I've always been into X-Files or conspiracies or anything strange or weird. I think it was the John Birch Society, actually. I'm pretty sure it was the John Birch Society that was putting out those pamphlets. And it was all just so true, man. Like, it freaked me out. It was so true to me when I was reading all of it that I just tried to erase it out of my mind. I had bigger fish to fry at the time. I had to start my new job in the U.S. Coast Guard. But that stuff really stayed with me, man. It was really frightening. And now we're here so many years later, and it's not fringe anymore. That idea is not fringe. Used to be. People used to roll their eyes at you more and mock you. Not to say all that's gone. You still get your share of trolls when covering stories outside the mainstream narrative. But look how far it's all come, man. Even like with my work on YouTube, I started about 10 years ago on YouTube. I remember doing videos about the Illuminati and things like that back then. And there was hardly anybody doing that. There were 3 channels that I got into back then, and all 3 of them happened to be practicing Muslims. I thought that was interesting. They have a bit of a different take. You can look up, if it's still available on YouTube, a series called The Arrivals. And they're taking more of like their Middle Eastern, Islamic type approach to this, like the Dajjal, Mahdi, and all that. But anyway, they knew the symbols were real as well, and they were putting it out there. And that's who some of those people's work is, who I cut my teeth on a lot of their work, kind of looking into this stuff. So I saw it back when it really was fringe to talk about some of these things. There were some people out there doing it, but not many, to where it became a literal industry, where you had whole channels of people going through the past so many years, fishing out every Illuminati symbol or satanic symbol they could find, producing videos on it, earning hundreds of thousands of views, making lots of money. No, I'm not talking about myself, by the way. I'm talking that it literally became an industry, and you guys know what I'm talking about as well. You saw this. I'm not pinpointing channels because there were so many, but it was very popular to be in conspiracies. I mean, even society was reflecting that. They came out with that show, Mr. Robot, and right, and that was supposed to be kind of like a reflection of the rise of conspiracy culture. They had a car commercial at one point where they literally asked Siri or whoever, whatever system they were asking, if the Illuminati is real or what is the Illuminati. So again, my point is we saw it, maximum exposure. And now look at how decimated it is. Now look at, I think the truth is so far out there. That's why I don't even title stuff Illuminati myself anymore. They may use different terms in the mainstream, like deep state or whatever, but I think a lot of that stuff has fully been exposed. And now we're literally seeing, like with stories like this, the creation of that one world beast system, the Antichrist system, a one world leader, one monetary system, a chip, whatever form that may come in, that if you don't take, you can't buy, sell, or trade. So cashless monopoly is the final nail in the coffin for physical money, or is this? ? For many children, the board game Monopoly is their introduction to capitalism, slum landlords, and what to do with wedges of banknotes. While the first two may still prove grimly relevant to their lives, a whole generation of children may grow up wondering what cash is. Hasbro, which makes Monopoly, is bringing out a cashless version with a digital voice banking edition, which keeps track of players' transactions. No banker, no thrilling piles of banknotes. We are moving towards a cashless society. Cash accounts for 3 in 10 transactions compared with 6 in 10 a decade ago. In 15 years' time, this is predicted to fall to 1 in 10. Some big issue sellers take cards, while a new app, Giving Streets, will soon allow you to donate to homeless people using your mobile phone. Buskers in London and street performers in Edinburgh use contactless payment points for tips. Galleries and museums do the same for donations. So do churches. You can make small cashless payments to the Access public lavatories, and there are cafes and pubs that take only cards. All right, anyway, we get the point. We understand where that's heading, I believe. A little predictive programming, if you will. How about a story that's going to cheer you up? Well, this isn't it, but let's go ahead and check this out.
Houston's Pride Week celebrations are in full swing right now, celebrating the LGBTQ community. And now one 9-year-old is living near Austin, performing as a drag queen to promote inclusiveness. Keegan performs in drag as Queen Kiki. A third-grade teacher asked her class what they wanted to be when they grow up. Keegan wrote in his memory book, "Gender Creative." Keegan says that he can be himself when he's wearing a dress. He also has a message for anyone struggling with their identity.
I want the world to know that you can be special and you can be who you want to be. You can be a vegetarian. You can even be a veterinarian. You can be LGBTQ. You can be a drag king.
Now, Keegan usually goes by the pronouns he and his. His family says that Keegan has acceptance and support at their school in their conservative Christian town outside of Austin.
Oh, whew, those conservative Christians. Watch out for those. Anyway, there you go. Spreading love and everything. It's sad. It's not to, you don't want to sit here and make fun of a child. That's not what that's about. It's actually, this is really horrendous of what these parents are allowing and what they're doing, I believe, to brainwash these children in this way, or to let them kind of dictate their own what's right and what's wrong, I guess, is one way to put it. I don't know, but I think it's a shame, obviously. This system, it's always about the kids. That's what it's become. It's definitely about the children. And a reflection of that to me is it's an attack on innocence and on purity, right? Anything good, anything that's left good in this world. But, if you get them young enough, and you can raise them up right, there's a possibility for a lot of good out there. But then we have this. It's like I did a video recently, a few days back. I just did a video showing it was talk about the alien propaganda stuff, but it was showing the sci-fi series that came out just a few years ago. And gosh, what was it called again, guys? You could probably help me out. It slipping my right on the edge of my tongue here, but it was the one where there were some alien invaders. Oh, it's
concentration camps on our southern
Childhood's End. Sorry, something just turned on over here. I don't know what it is.
They are concentration camps.
See if it's that
I want
channel.
to talk to the people that are concerned enough with humanity.
There it
to
is.
say that we should not.
Okay, that sorry, that one of the bookmarks just started up out of nowhere, and it was Cortez, and I just can't even really listen to her talk for very long. I'm sorry, but hey, let's pause. So it was called Childhood's End. It was called Childhood's End, and it was about the fake alien invasion. And at the very end, you find out it's the devil or demons, and a devil comes out of one of the ships or whatever, holding hands with a little boy and a little girl on either side. And then, of course, a few years later, we see that same imagery prop up through the Satanic Church here in America, the Satanic Temple, and they created the Baphomet, the transgender goat god, right? A representation of the devil, or Lucifer, if you will. They created that statue with a small boy and a small, little girl on its side as well. So what this is showing us is that same concept I've been seeing for years, and it's that attack on innocence and on purity. And now it truly is turned towards the children. And now we have stories like that last one where we got this Keegan, we got these little kids who are spreading this message. And this is, I believe, what's going to be the love that the new religion, the final religion, will be pushing. Love is love, right? There'll be no more boundaries. No set of standards. The Bible's going to be out the door, but we'll see. And it seems like we're getting closer and closer to that sometimes too, doesn't it? Here's one for you. Substitute teacher fired for filming a porn video in classroom. Texas school district has fired a sub teacher after receiving a tip that she made pornographic videos that included footage recorded in a classroom. The Victoria Advocate reports investigators believe the videos were recorded last month at El Campo High School. The El Campo School District says the teacher had worked in the district for 3 months and was fired last week. Police say no students or other staff members were involved in the videos. All right. Just throwing that out there. Somebody filming a porn in the school. All right. All right. Young Americans are increasingly uncomfortable with LGBTQ community, GLAAD study shows. This is a subject that comes up a lot lately on the shows, and it's not just because I've got some bone to pick. It's a really important subject. This is, they stole the rainbow, and this is part of spiritual warfare, I believe. Now, this isn't saying every single homosexual's involved in this type of activity or doing this. They're not. You can see it in comment sections as well. There's many people who are homosexual that they can't stand this stuff either. They can't stand the kind of weaponization of this, right? We'll see a few more news stories on that kind of weaponization of homosexuality tonight here as well. But GLAAD, the organization dedicated to LGBTQ advocacy in media and culture, released its 5th annual Accelerating Acceptance Index on Monday. The index is a national survey of nearly 1,800 American adults who were asked to rate their position on a scale of very uncomfortable to comfortable to prompted situations like having LGBT members at my place of worship, learning a family member is LGBT, and learning my child has a lesson on LGBT history in school. In doing so, the goal of the survey is to track Americans' attitudes towards LGBTQ people in everyday scenarios. Because that's really, really important for the kids to know. Just over 80% of Americans surveyed said they knew someone who identifies as LGBTQ. It's being used as a control mechanism, is what I'm saying. We'll see more of that. And the survey found that an equal amount of non-LGBTQ Americans surveyed support equal rights for the community. The idea of equal rights is largely supported by Americans, but legal equality is not the same as acceptance. In its first 3 years of results, the index showed a steady increase in Americans who felt comfortable with the issues and the people. Last year, however, results saw a sharp drop in acceptance across all scenarios surveyed. Oh no. Headlines that stated LGBTQ acceptance is eroding were a call to arms for GLAAD in so many around the country. A press release accompanying the new index explained GLAAD doubled down on our formula for making culture change. We're going to make culture change. All right, we got it. We understand. It really is a culture war. It's a culture wars that are taking place. Antifa, the anti-fascists who are even growing even more violent by the day, it seems. But they're anti-fascist. That's in the title, so there's no way they could actually be fascist. You get it? All right, cool. Antifa targets attacks, sends independent journalist to hospital for filming their protest, and they robbed him too. Is there a video here? Let's see. Let's read a little bit. Antifa has dropped out of the news over the last few months, but it's not for lack of activity. They still show up at every major event, at any protest, at rallies, and essentially anywhere they can cause trouble. One might assume they're out of the news because bigger stories in the national attention span has been elsewhere, but maybe it's because this very violent group is attacking reporters who dare to share the facts about them, especially when doing so involves documenting their actions with video and photos. That's exactly what the independent journalist Andy No, I'm guessing you pronounce that, does, and he has paid for it more than once. This time, that includes a visit to the hospital after being beaten bloody and robbed by Antifa activists on Saturday. Let's take a look at this. Remember, guys, they're anti-fascist. That's the term is Antifa. So there's no way they could be fascist. Okay, this is a double think. This is the way we have to think now, living in the upside down.
Fucking hound, bitch!
Did you ever hear the parable, the wheat and the tares? You look it up sometime. It's just my opinion here, okay? I certainly don't know it all, but when I see activity like this, I see tares. I see that we are starting to see a manifestation of the tares amongst us. Some are in your family, some are your friends, some are your neighbors, some are in your bedroom, perhaps. The tares. Look up the wheat and the tares. Wheat and the tares. Very interesting. But I'm seeing that spirit grow, you know. The fact that that whole kind of a group exists in America now in the first place and gets so much coverage and protection by mainstream media is concerning, to say the least. A drag queen on all fours roars, growls incoherently at library event for teens. It's for the kids. So that's a good thing. Now, this is for children. This is for the teenagers. All right? You got any teens that are out doing other things, go grab them, bring them in, and have them watch a computer here, because this is meant for teenagers. The lady that posted that, the lady Kaylee Triller that posted this said this is what demonic possession looks like. Check this out.
5 young people in Alaska tonight facing charges of murder in a scheme that sounds like a twisted horror movie plot. Police say 18-year-old Denali.
Sorry, guys, give me a second. My bookmarks keep doing this. Come on, stop. Okay. I think that's about enough of that, but Again, I know I can joke around a little bit here and there, but remember I told you that this Antichrist spirit, I believe, that's growing in these times we're in, manifesting more and more through people, so you may call them tares, perhaps. But that energy is targeting the light, the real light, the light of Christ, the light of our Heavenly Father, the Lord God, and the light that manifests through some of humanity, right? through those that have the Holy Spirit. And that's how I see it. I've been saying it for years. I always feel like it's we're seeing the division of the wheat and the tares, the sheep and the goats, and people are manifesting more of this kind of energy. And it's a shame that they keep doing this at libraries towards kids who will read a little bit, geared toward, quote, tweens, preteens. An ad on the Renton Public Library website for the Saturday event heralded safer sex presentations, a drag show, free swag, free binder raffle, and promised the most rainbow-filled fun you can imagine. On Facebook, Kaylee Triller Harms, wow, I guess that's her name. It's a pretty wild name. I like it. It's cinematic. Kaylee Triller Harms. On Facebook, Kaylee Triller Harms, an activist in exposing the transgender movement, posted that the handouts at the Saturday event also offered chest binders to help 8 self-hating girls mutilate their bodies. As evidence, she posted a photograph that showed the event offered $50 gift cards for chest binders to 8 winners, quote unquote. Chest binders are used by transgender women and girls to flatten their breasts and achieve a more masculine appearance. Among the materials available to teenagers were flyers about pre-exposure prophylaxis, rubbers, I guess, which is medicine. Oh, I'm wrong. Which is medicine that taken daily is supposed to reduce the risk that HIV-negative persons may face when exposed to sex with HIV-positive people. The Truvada brand, which is manufactured by Gilead, is a form of this PrEP. Activists for Lifelong Alliance for AIDS were on hand at the event to offer information about PrEP formulated by Gilead. According to its financial report, the Seattle-based Lifelong Alliance received more than $22 million in government grants and fees in 2017. So the beast is feeding its arms. It's feeding its tentacles. It's like this Lovecraftian beast that can just keep printing money. Planned Parenthood also offered materials at the event. Personal lubrication and flavored condoms were allegedly available for teens. Did you bring your kids in yet? Free lunch? I'm kidding. Stop. Free lunch and dinner were also available. That's very nice. Okay, I got about enough of that. I think we get it. Now this one, I don't know how much of this I can play. I wish I could play you the whole thing, but I do want to highly recommend this for you. We'll look at a little bit. Inside China's thought transformation camps. I think this is a BBC. Yeah, it is. It's a BBC original. That's probably why I haven't seen a lot of coverage online about this. It's mainly just BBC. I'm not trying to sound grim, but watching this, I'm like, could this be? And it could be, could this be America's future? Thought transformation camps. It reminds me, you remember when Hillary Clinton, this is back in like 2016, I think, she said that what she'd like to do as president is to form camps for adults in America that come from different political parties. And that way you could meet in these camps and you guys would be forced to interact with each other over your political ideologies. That doesn't sound creepy at all, does it? It's not a camp I want to go to. Anyway, this China's thought transformation camp, wow, it really takes it to that next level. So let's just watch a little bit. I may have to take this off. Like once I upload the show here, I may have to remove this if they claim it or something. I'm not sure. But we'll watch a little bit.
China used to deny that these places exist. But now we're being given a tour. The message: these are schools, not prisons.
他们受到一定的极端思想感染以后，为了就是把自己思想里面的极端思想的感染程度去除。
But the more we ask, Have you been convicted of a crime?
我没有
The more evidence we try to gather of our own are transformed. Long hours of rote learning Chinese. The study of China's tightening restrictions on religion and the replacing of faith and cultural identity with a different loyalty. I love the Communist Party of China, this man has written.
That's it. Like I said, I didn't want to, this is a BBC original. I don't know how they are with copyright stuff. Wanted to play a little bit. Highly suggest you go check this out. There's a lot of things. It seems like China is almost a testing ground for the so-called elite or the Illuminati or the beast system, and that things they're testing out in China seem to be moving our way. They do this. That's what happened, I believe, with a lot of the wars in the early 90s. Remember around Saddam Hussein and all this? But during a lot of these skirmishes we've had with other countries throughout the years, it's interesting when you look at how much of that wartime armor, wartime weapons, wartime vehicles, how many of those came back to America and have been placed at our police stations all throughout America. And this is something you can look into. Totally has happened. It was a part of the early building of the police state, really. We also have the 13 FEMA regions in America, the FEMA camp regions, if you will. If we ever go into martial law, that'd be a possibility as well. But this is what they do. So sometimes watching other areas, watching other places in the news, we can see what might be coming for us. Great Britain is definitely a mirror to America. They're a lot worse off right now as far as censorship and surveillance goes. But a lot of the stuff started there, and then we saw it showing up in America. We saw these, little skirmishes and wars, and all of a sudden we see, within a few years of these, our police officers are starting to look more like they're in war. They're wearing a lot of the same gear. They're driving a lot of the same kind of vehicles. Anyway, I thought this was really interesting, so check it out. Inside China's thought transformation camps. That could be our future. I'm sure if they had it their way, that would be our future. Sign of the times, weather patterns all over the planet are going absolutely nuts. We've never seen global weather patterns go as crazy as they have so far in 2019. Record high temperatures are being shattered all over the planet, but meanwhile, some parts of the US were just buried by massive amounts of snow. The 6th largest city in India is literally running out of water due to extremely dry conditions, but in Middle America, it just won't stop raining. In fact, the Midwest is getting hammered by more severe storms as I write this article. Meanwhile, Australia is being forced to import enormous amounts of wheat due to the extraordinary drought that nation is currently experiencing. Everywhere you look around the globe, we see bizarre weather extremes. Worldwide weather patterns are shifting dramatically, and many believe that we have witnessed so far is just the beginning. Do you have an explanation for what is going on? Because the truth is that most experts don't know. Just look at what is happening in Colorado. Some parts of the state got up to 20 inches of snow on Saturday, and as a result, Colorado's snowpack is currently more than 4,000% above normal. On the other side of the world, the problem is that there isn't any meaningful precipitation at all. More than 4.6 million people live in the city of Chennai, India. Thanks to a drought that never seems to end, the main reservoirs that normally supply that city with water are rapidly going dry. So what do you do when you have millions of people that need water, but you don't have any to give them? Well, the temporary solution that has been implemented for now is to truck water in. That means that hundreds of thousands of residents are forced to stand in line for hours in the hot sun as they wait for water trucks to arrive. Over in Europe, it looks like this could be the hottest week ever for the month of June. In the next few days, high temperatures are expected to exceed 40 degrees Celsius, that's 104 degrees Fahrenheit, in Spain. And that prompted one meteorologist to warn that, quote, hell is coming. In 2003, a terrible heat wave killed tens of thousands of people all across Europe, and many expect this heat wave to be even worse. And things will be extraordinarily hot in France as well. In fact, some parts of France are expected to hit 109 degrees Fahrenheit by the end of the week. Here in the United States, we've been witnessing month after month of extremely unusual weather in the middle of the country. The rain has been endless and the flooding has been unprecedented, and those living in the heartland keep thinking that all of this weird weather has got to end eventually at some point, but it hasn't. In fact, more severe weather is rolling through middle America as I write this. This is from Michael Snyder on endoftheamericandream.com. Anyway, I got a few other stories that kind of line up with that, so I wanted to put that in there for you. We'll find those when we do. So here's another one. It's as I said, this, it's important to make that distinction. I've talked about this in the past. I've had homosexual Christians get mad at me, and thinking I'm clumping everybody into one thing. And I always tell them the same thing, man. If you've got Christ, you're a brother or sister in Christ to me. I love you. I'm right there with you. And even if you don't, I just love people in general. But I'm saying when I'm talking to a Christian that's a homosexual, I tell them again, my thing is I'm not sitting here. I'm not the sin watcher. I'm not sitting here trying to see what you're doing bad and what everybody else is. We all have our own things to deal with. Homosexuality is a sin. It's in the Bible, but it's, from what I know, from what I've read, and from what I understand, it's, all sin is equal. I've had people get mad at me for that. No, it's, this one's worse. And it's like, no, man, I'm with it. Jesus saves us all. Again, I can't pick at other people's sins because I have sin in my life too. I'm certainly not perfect. It upsets me how many gay people turn against God because so many religious, religious type Christians can be so hateful and condemning sometimes. So anyway, that's kind of my take. I just want to put that in there for a second, just so you understand. Jesus isn't going to save me any more than he's going to save a homosexual because they're homosexual and they follow and love him, That's just how I see it. And again, it's also, everyone's got their own individual thing to deal with. I'm not sitting over here being all concerned about the gay Christians and their path and why they're still being gay. It's like, they know they need to change. We all know what we got to do. And, like I said, I've got my stuff to deal with, my stuff to watch, so we all have sin in our life. Anyway, I'm rambling. Sorry. Forgive me. U.S. College suggests God is queer. Oh boy. Another liberal institution is challenging an age-old dogma, that this time on hallowed religious ground with radical new ideas. This would not be worrisome if dissenting voices were invited, but that's not the case. Swarthmore College, situated on a lush tree-lined campus in the state of Pennsylvania, teaches that God might be experiencing some doubt over his or her sexual identity. Then who are we mere mortals to doubt it? Perhaps the liberal college might even consider extending an invitation. Okay, this is all, we get it. I don't want to read it. Sounds like it's all mainly just this guy's opinion, Robert Bridge, but we got the title. We understand. Again, this attack on, actually on God himself. But things that are pure, things that are true, things that are good, these are what's under attack now. Pensioner 83 told she's too old to see a doctor after breaking her arm. Susan Halbert from Newton, I can't even pronounce, Newton Mearns, Renfrewshire, broke her arm in two places after she fell outside her home in April. She was taken to Glasgow's New Victoria Hospital by paramedics, where she was told doctors would not see her because she was over the age of 65. Paramedics took her to A&E at the Queen Elizabeth University Hospital, where she was forced to wait 4 hours to get seen and another 2 hours to be treated. She was given a splint and sent home. Go. Susan, who's still wearing a brace in her arm, told the Daily Mail that the paramedics could not have been more helpful, but said it stopped there. She continued, "They took me to the Victoria and we went inside, only for the receptionist to explain that I couldn't be seen because I was over the age of 65. The paramedics were as stunned as I was. They even told me they had never heard of someone being too old for treatment before." She added, "We are all people. Whether someone is 1 or 101, we all deserve to be treated the same and not like second-class citizens." The New Victoria has a minor injuries unit which is equipped to deal with limb injuries. A spokesman for the help board apologized for the confusion and said in a statement, there is no upper age limit for patients that are MIUs. Our MIUs can treat cuts and grazes, and it's like, okay, whatever. Anyway, what this reminded me of all things is a science fiction film. It may have been based off a book. It's called Logan's Run. You ever seen that before? But it was another one of these dystopian futures. Side note, it was actually filmed in Fort Worth, Texas, some of it downtown. Just kind of a little side note there, if you even care. But Logan's Run was a dystopian future, which means it took place in our future, and it was basically a haves and a have-nots almost type situation. There's always some kind of major, oppression in these stories. But in this particular story in the future, every time somebody turns the age of 30, they have this like crystal or some kind of a gem or something that's in the palm of their hand. It's like put in there, I guess, from birth. But as soon as they turn the age of 30, that starts to light up, and that means that it's time for them to die. Because nobody over the age of 30 is really useful. This is a whole society that runs only on youth. So they all get together, all the people who turn 30, celebrate their birthdays whenever, each and every day, I guess, or every few days. They all get together in this mass ritual and they kill themselves. So we've seen this kind of an idea before. That people being too old to take care of. That's where I've seen it. I'm sure it's a part of some Marxist ideologies and whatever. I'm not sure, but I wouldn't be surprised. Arsenic found in bottled water, sold by Whole Foods and Walmart. Ruh-roh. When you see this stuff, you just got to wonder, seriously, how did it get there? Is this proof that they're literally trying to kill us through the water? Or is this just some madman or mad woman? I don't know. Let's see what the news says. Not that we can totally believe them, but maybe we can get some basic info here.
Water bottles we drink from could contain high levels of arsenic. That's according to tests conducted by the Center for Environmental Health. The group found that Peñafiel water and Starkey water contained higher arsenic levels than tap water. Peñafiel is sold at Target and Walmart along with other vendors. Starkey water is owned by and sold at Whole Foods. The chemical can cause reproductive harm and cancer. The Food and Drug Administration has not recalled either brand.
Wow. The Food and Drug Administration has not recalled either brand. They can obviously, it's been proven to cause harm to humans. But hey, it's just a news story. Moving on to the next thing. Hey, what did Trump tweet today, huh? Hey, yeah. Yeah, but it's just another news story. Nothing to worry about. Just passing on by. You know what I mean? This one's a crazy crime. Check this out. It's one of them there crazy crime stories. Kind of a crime. Definitely a tragedy. Check this out.
Was released from jail after he ran away from our cameras. Just after 6 o'clock tonight, Lexus Stagg was released from jail after and she ran away from our cameras. Watch this surveillance video. Prosecutors say Mom Lexus Stagg is behind the wheel, driving the car in reverse. Her 3 children runs toward the car. She then puts the car in drive and goes forward. Little Lord Renfro could not get out of the way in time.
A way to play with children.
Neighbor Walter Tershwas remembers that day and how Stagg told police she accidentally backed over her son.
The crazy thing to me was that 15 minutes before that happened, he was right inside this patio.
But Harris County prosecutor Sean Tier says the video speaks for itself. Stagg clearly drove forward, he says, and is now charged with criminal negligent homicide.
Criminally negligent homicide means that you are acting with gross negligence. You are acting in such a negligent manner that it rises to the level of criminality.
On Facebook, Stagg posted pictures of her son and asked how she's supposed to tell her 5-year-old daughter about this accident. But Child Protective Services says the mother already has had 2 older kids removed from her in 2013. After the death of 3-year-old Renfro on June 11th, her 2 remaining kids were also taken away. And now she could face...
So they didn't mention it in the news clip here, but right down, well, where is it? Yeah, well, I mean, the headline, mom charged after hitting kid with SUV while, quote, playing chicken. I read another article on this, and there was a little bit more detail about it, but I wanted to show the clip. But either way, what kind of anybody wants to get in their vehicle in their right mind and play chicken with your kids, you know, or any kids or anybody? Okay, and of course we got this one. Psychologists can't figure out why hardly anyone wants to date a trans person. I'm telling you, man, I've talked about this, like I said, even with the like the fascist side of the homosexuals. We're seeing some of that as well, and even that was reflected in Hunger Games. Remember, the whole society was, the men were very effeminate. I think you can look into this. I haven't looked into this in a long time. I just remember bits and pieces of things, but I believe there was a whole thing with maybe it's Eva Braun, like with Hitler. And you can look back into their camps, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of their camps were run or overwatched by women. I think that was a big thing. You can even look through history. Haven't they? I think they've had even homosexuals and women look after a lot of the men's camps. Maybe it was back during that situation or other situations, but for some reason this is ringing true to me. I know I've seen this somewhere before. And the whole reason why was to further subjugate the men. So I'm almost positive they've done this with the women, and probably in more than one culture. Like, this may actually just be a thing they do to help subjugate, the men more. I ramble a lot. Psychologists can't figure out why. A recent Journal of Social and Personal Relationships study found that nearly 90% of survey respondents are not interested in dating transgender people. In a Psychology Today article on the study, co-author Karen Blair implies these findings demonstrate significant discrimination. Ugh. So I don't even want to read more on this, but we get it. Okay, it's just more of that subject seems to be popping up. I call it a spirit of censorship. Again, we've never seen anything like this before with Trump. Love him or hate him, whatever. I don't even get into the politics of stuff, but the censorship. And we got a crafting website now is banning users from sharing support for Trump. So, my take on it has been, I've done a few videos, is this could very well be the greatest setup in history. I don't know whether he knows it or not. I don't know, but whether it's, but it seems like the greatest, it seems like, there we go, this.
Walked out in protest after.
These things keep popping off like that. But that's how I see it. This could very well be one of the greatest setups in history. Trump being the ultimate patsy. That the event many of us have seen coming, feel coming. You can call it another 9/11. It'll be the last. It'll be the biggest. A lot of people have had dreams and visions of what's going to be affected. I've done a lot of videos on some of the things as well when it comes to that. Areas, New York, tsunami, nuclear weapon. Trump would be the ultimate patsy. Like, the world hates him, and well, not everybody, because he's got a lot of support with the people, right? But you never see that reflected in any of the mainstream news. The narrative they have is basically everybody hates this guy. He's terrible. He's the worst person that's ever existed. They go after his family. They do everything, right? It's just this guy. It's like they totally, right? But then when you hear stories about Obama, a lot of people think Obama is going to be the Antichrist. Did you know that? Look into that sometime. A lot of interesting things that connected with him. A lot of esoteric, a lot of occult mysteries surrounding Mr. Obama. So you should check that out if you didn't know. But he's definitely one that a lot of people are considering as the final ruler of it all. And he's loved and adored by the media, and they protected him for 8 years. He heard hardly anything bad out of the mainstream media, that is. And he's still loved and adored. He's still in the news. I've shown a lot of stories even on these shows where he's still popping up in the news. He's still active. So will that be the switcheroo? Will the event happen under Trump? And the narrative has been pushed so far that Trump's a Christian. He's a conservative. He's horrible. That will somehow extend to all the rest of us, any other Christians or conservatives. then the Antichrist could step in, and then all the censorship things are already in place. The drones are ready to go. Surveillance grid is here, 5G up and running, and they can say, you don't take this chip, you can't buy, sell, or trade. And also start going after, like really going after and censoring and going after and finding the Christians, the conservatives, the people who we know, for the most part, aren't going to accept that mark. Anyway, I'm rambling again. Sorry. But speaking of drones and the surveillance state, Amazon patents surveillance as a service tech for its delivery drones. Amazon's delivery drones are not yet dropping off packages, but the company is already envisioning how else that might be used, including by offering surveillance as a service. Yeah, this is going to be just fine, guys. What could go wrong? Amazon was recently granted a patent that outlines how its UAVs could keep an eye on customers' property between deliveries while supposedly maintaining their privacy. The patent was originally filed in June 2015 and became public earlier this month. It describes how the company's drones could be hired to look out for open garage doors, broken windows, graffiti, or even a fire before alerting the owner of the property. Drones have long been used for surveillance, particularly by the military, right? So it started over there. Now they bring it here to America. But companies are now beginning to explore how they might be used for home security. It's exactly the point I was trying to make earlier. Again, they test it in other places. They bring it back for us. However, it's rare to hear about surveillance being done by delivery drones, which are still in their infancy. All right, so we got it. We got it and we get it. What could go wrong? What could go wrong? Here's one that's Wall Street Journal, so it won't let you read the story unless you, subscribe or something, which I'm not going to do, but I want to share this. This actually has to do, I'll talk more about this at the end of the show, but, I had my own heart attack last August. Heart attack at 49, America's biggest killer makes a deadly comeback. Younger people, women, and non-smokers are more likely to be victims of the crisis in cardiovascular health driven by skyrocketing obesity and diabetes. Ain't that the truth? Even in real life, like with me, friends and acquaintances and stuff like this, I've seen a few of these people in their 40s and their 50s dying of heart attacks. So anyway, just want to share that for a second. Take care of ourselves out there, folks. You got to take care of yourselves. I'm saying that to myself, too. I thought I'd been doing a pretty good job. Here we go. New gene editing method could lead to creation of a super baby. Chinese researchers have found a way to nearly triple the efficiency of a tool designed to edit genes in human embryos. Their method should be ready for clinical use soon. What could go wrong? With gene-edited babies available in another year or two. Okay. The technology is similar to weapons and drugs, Yang told SCMP. Immoral use, such as the creation of a super baby, should be banned forever. We always hear this. Yeah, this is a bad idea. They shouldn't do it, but they always do it, don't they? They always go ahead and do it. Have you heard about this? Goodbye Chrome, Google's web browser has become spy software. Of course, we have the all-seeing eye. It's on everything. It's on 1984, the book too, as well. It's in Masonic lodges. No, I'm not saying all of them. There are porch masons. No offense to you folks out there, but it's that control grid. That's the beast system. That's a symbol of the control grid that we're in. Let's go ahead and see what this news story has to say about it, shall we? Let's watch this one together.
The real world. Imagine you're just out browsing, minding your own business. But from the very first place you visit, you get joined by one of these. A cookie. He belongs to an advertising network or data tracker. In other words, he's a spy. What's pesky about cookies is they stick with you. allowing nosy companies to tag along to all the other places you browse.
Okay, I don't really want to finish that. Do you? I didn't know it'd be some cheeseball skit from the Washington Post. Anyway, let's just read. Okay, so this guy conducted a test. He said it made me decide to ditch Chrome for a new version of nonprofit Mozilla's Firefox. I'd rather go to, I have it down here. I had it. I guess I took it off. Well, I was running out of memory on my computer, but DuckDuckGo is a really good one too. Anyway, this just looks kind of like a puff piece. This guy's just kind of telling about his own experience. Google's web browser has become spy software. Our latest privacy experiment found Chrome ushered more than 11,000 tracker cookies into our browser in a single week. And he's pushing Firefox. This might be a business thing. I don't know, whatever. But I do believe that. I mean, we're all getting really sick of this company right here, aren't we? Aren't we? I am. I can't wait for them to hopefully break it up. We'll see. We'll see what they do. Oh, guys, it's been almost an hour. Give me just about a minute. I forgot that I locked Chubbs in the back. I have a deck in the backyard, and it's elevated, so he never jumps off. It's pretty high up. But let me go grab him because I hear him meowing. Hold on one sec. Hi. All right, thanks. He's pretty grumpy, so he may come around here in a second. We'll see. Meet the new American family, transgender queer clown nuns. What is the ideal American family? Is it a loving mother and father with happy children living on their own property with a white picket fence? Nope. According to The Guardian, it's a gender-queer family of clown nuns. To honor the 50th anniversary of the Stonewall riots, The Guardian has published a series of articles under the category Stonewall at 50, which exclusively panders to LGBT issues. Yesterday, the publication released an article entitled The New American Family. All right, we got it. Transgender, queer, non-binary, two-spirit. Just look at this, though. Like, I don't even want to read more. We get it, right? But here's a little. Wait, let me read some of this. The article gave the story of Reverend Hicks, or Rev Hicks, a 31-year-old genderqueer sister of perpetual indulgence who created a family of clown nuns. Yes, that's a real quote from the article. Hicks lives in an all-queer trans household with a trans spiritual family. Look at the mother goddess symbolism with the moon on the forehead right here. And I've done a lot of videos on that as well. YouTube actually took the last one down. It's called What You Need to Know About Mother Goddess Worship. I had to upload it to my website. But I've covered this subject for years too. This is also the rise of, the mother goddess worship or the female rival. Hicks identifies as a clown nun, and the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence is a group of drag queens that satirize religious beliefs about gender and family. All right, so it's another one. We get the point. You don't got to read the whole article, but just the picture alone, right? Oh boy, it's a spirit. It's spiritual. Speaking of which, you seen this one? Several attendees of the government meeting open to the public in Alaska walked out in protest after an opening prayer praised Satan. The AP reports the prayer where a woman declared Hail Satan was given by Satanic Temple member Iris Fontana, who won the right to open the meeting with an invocation of her choice. It's just simply another example of how this stuff is manifesting in the real now. More and more. Years ago, we would talk about this kind of stuff and nobody really would bat an eye, or they would think you're just a kook or thinking too much. Now you're literally seeing Satanists and people who worship, Satan, they coming out in the mainstream. More and more. Neil Gaiman hilariously responds to Christian group demanding Netflix cancel Amazon's Good Omens. I just put this one in there because look at the outrage culture and look at the mainstream media, the way the mainstream media covers outrage. If it's a social justice warrior cause, they're all for it. Like, it's cool. I mean, they promote it mainstream. But if it's Christians coming out, because apparently a bunch of Christians went after this TV show Good Omens. We'll read a little bit. But if you look, even if I go back right here, Neil Gaiman hilariously responds to Christian group, right? Whatever. Look at every single result here. Neil Gaiman hilariously responds to Christian group, hilariously responds to Christian group, hilariously responds to, hilariously responds to, hilariously responds, right? Like, it's funny. If it's a Christian group, they're a bunch of Christians. They're dorks, idiots, morons. Neil Gaiman knows how to take a joke, even an accidental one. The author responded to the petition created by a Christian group for Netflix to cancel his show Good Omens, even though it airs on Amazon Prime Video and not Netflix. Gaiman, who wrote every episode of the show, took the criticism in stride. He said, "This is so beautiful. Promise me you won't tell me. Promise me you won't tell them," he tweeted Wednesday. I guess they have a whole position over 20,000 people. And it's about, the fantasy series adapted from Gaiman and Terry Pratchett's 1990 novel. Features an angel and a demon who work together to stop an apocalypse. Features a reluctant antichrist, Benedict Cumberbatch voicing Satan, and of course Frances McDormand is the voice of God. It's a lady is God. All right. But again, just more of this mockery, right? You guys seen this footage? Check this out. This is pretty wild. It's only about 30 seconds, but how many of you out there, moms and dads, have found yourself in a similar situation to this with your kids? Wow, how about that catch, huh? You ever had that happen with any of your little ones? Whether it be in public or private? Very last second, you're able to help them or stop it? Whew, man, good catch, Mom. Very good catch. This is a cool one. It's kind of a doom break. Stunned fisherman photographs terrifying creatures hauled up from the depths. Look at some of these things. Whoa. Whoa. That's wild. It looks like Kenny from South Park, doesn't it? Wow, check that out. Like I said, I was in the Coast Guard, for 8 years. We were out in the Bering Sea most of the time when we worked. We'd put on these neoprene suits. We called them Gumby suits. They covered everything but your face. And we'd have swim calls out there in the middle of the ocean. They just let us jump off and hang out in the water. I was always creeped out. I love the water, but I was always freaked out because of stuff like this. Even though I didn't know this existed exactly, I always wondered what the heck's down there. What we don't even know, and it goes down for miles and miles and miles and miles, and so much uncharted territory in parts of the oceans. You just have no idea what kind of creatures are flittering around under your feet when you're out there floating on the surface. Look at that. That's a cute little guy. Wow, that's really cool. That's cool. Toadfish. Wow, look at this thing. It's an anglerfish, but look at that. It looks like a monster. It looks like something out of Alien. Look at those chompers. Wow, speaking of chompers, they call this a wolf fish. Look at that. Wow. Whoa. Called a ratfish. Can you imagine just floating out in the ocean, kind of treading water, having one of these things swim along and tickle your toes? About one of these. No Photoshop, it says. Just treading water, hanging out in the ocean. You'd be knocking one of those inflatable plastic balls back and forth with a friend, and one of these things comes swimming along and just tickles your toes. Wow, that's crazy. Look at that. It's pretty. Blue lumpfish. Wow, another one that looks like alien, right? Looks like the seed planter in Alien, that creature, the face hugger. Just floating out in the water, and then one of these things just swims along, kind of tickles your little belly. It rubs up on your back a little bit. There you go. Here's our doom break for the evening. Now let's get back to it. New Zealand government website erases Israel from map, replaces it with Palestine. You heard about this? The Israel Institute of New Zealand called on the immigration minister to immediately apologize for the offending image and confirm that it does not reflect government policy. It also called for an investigation. The Institute's director, Ashley Church, described the map as incredibly offensive and the equivalent of New Zealand immigration, displaying a map of the UK which removed Scotland and Wales and referred to the entirety of the British Isles as England. The map notes East Jerusalem as the designated capital of the Palestinian state, which the Institute took issue with. All right, there you go. New health alert over antidepressants as study finds a rare but serious risk of suicide for patients on pills. Of course, all of this stuff, man. The American Medical Association in specific, but just any one of the big medical groups anywhere in the world, whoever's got the control, there's always these interesting little side effects with all these medications. And I did a whole video on it way back. Like I said, I had a heart attack. I went through this whole thing myself with the medication. And the medication they had me on was making me have suicidal ideation and even a lot of depression. It was a mess. Anyway, I'm much better now. Don't worry. But there you go. Another one that we should know about, men's fertility irreversibly damaged by age of 18 thanks to Western junk food diet, study finds. A groundbreaking investigation has established that teenagers who favor high-fat and processed foods like pizzas, chips, and snacks are killing off sperm-producing cells that can never be replaced. It showed that a diet dominated by fish, chicken, vegetables, and fruit is best for protecting those cells and ensuring healthy levels of sperm. However, they have tended to focus on older men, those in their late 20s, 30s, and 40s who are struggling to conceive. By contrast, the new Harvard University investigation shows for the first time that poor diet while growing up may reduce a man's chances of fathering children for the rest of his life. Experts believe processed food starved off antioxidants places sperm-producing cells under oxidative stress, ultimately killing them. Professor Alan Pacey from the University of Sheffield, a leading authority on sperm, that's a leading authority on sperm. What's your dad do for a living? He's a leading authority on sperm. Anyway, a leading authority on sperm. So this just shows the power of diet to the water that testicles function. Okay. The concern would be that poor diet younger in life makes a change that sticks with you. The Harvard researchers assessed the data of nearly 3,000 men who underwent a medical examination upon starting national service in the Danish Armed Forces. The average age was 19. From the responses to a dietary questionnaire, 4 types of diet were identified. A, quote, Western diet characterized by red meat, processed meat, fatty and sugary foods and drinks, or a prudent diet comprising mainly of chicken, fish, vegetables, and fruit. A smorgasbord diet, cold processed meats, whole grains, mayonnaise, cold fish, condiments, and dairy, and a traditional vegetarian diet involving lots of vegetables, soy milk, and eggs. Sperm health is measured by concentration, volume, and motility. It was best in those following the prudent diet, followed by the vegetarian, and then the smorgasbord diet, with those adhering to a Western diet yielding the worst readings. Good to know. Good to know, folks. If you ever want to have kids, then you better watch what you eat right now. If you want to have kids. Undercover moms expose graphic teen pride public library event, then get doxxed by Antifa. So this is where a couple of our earlier stories merge. So here we showed you this video earlier here, but it turns out that, here we go, 2 concerned mothers who attended that event we watched, a recent teen pride celebration at a public library in Renton, Washington, told College Fix that they have now been doxxed for their efforts to expose the event, which included a graphic dance by, we saw all that. The women and some of their allies attending the event in a somewhat undercover capacity were able to capture on film a large amount of the pride festivities, including the graphic performance of a drag queen. In the performance, the drag queen was seen removing a skirt at the start and then dancing in scantily clad clothing to the song Like a Girl. Well, let's just watch for ourselves here for a little bit here. Whoa, okay, I did not need to see that. Anyway, this is for teenagers, guys, so don't get all upset. It's fine. This is okay. This is for kids. Okay, I think I've had about enough of that. So there we go. Okay, look. Hey, don't get mad at me. This is for children. It's okay. She says, one of the ladies says, I witnessed kids in that show and in the following panel that couldn't have been more than 10. In their main video, parents, teenagers, tweens, children, and even kids in strollers can be seen at the library event. Footage showed the distribution of lube, dental dams, and flavored condoms. Man, that is, you know what? That's good for the kids. That's good for the kids. This is exactly, that's good. This is what your kids need. Your kids need lube, you know, and they need some dental dams and, of course, flavored condoms. It's very important for those 13 and 14-year-old kids out there to have that, for sure. One pamphlet stated abuse is not S&M. Sadism, masochism. All right, we got it. Salim Juma, an independent journalist, obtained a close-up of the freebies handed out at the event. One of them is in the shape of a wiener, and it reads in part, reducing sexual risk is the easiest way to prevent your Moby Dick from exhibiting 50 Shades of Grey. Ayo! See what they did there? Ha ha! We want you to be the Lord of unzipping flies. Okay. But don't let an STI catch you by surprise. It rhymes. I like it. I really don't, but... Oh, did you see what they did there? One of the moms told the Fix that she saw young people at the event under the age of 18 who were not accompanied by adults, despite a library official saying that would not be... Goodness, that same bookmark keeps going off, guys. I'm sorry. Come on, man. Stop. Okay, let me get back to my story here. Well, you know what? Let's just watch this one while we're at it. I think we pretty much got what we needed to out of the last one. And this one, like I said, in the background just keeps going off randomly. So, you know, apparently it really wants to, it needs to be heard. I thought this was another interesting crime situation going on. Let's check some of this out here.
5 young people in Alaska tonight facing charges of murder in a scheme that sounds like a twisted horror movie plot. Police say 18-year-old Denali Bremer and the group killed Bremer's best friend and recorded it. They're going to sell the proof to a stranger whom Bremer met online. That stranger offered at least $9 million to carry out the crime, but that stranger turned out to be a fraud and a catfisher. Victim's father says his daughter had a learning disability that could have made her vulnerable.
I know my daughter didn't deserve it.
Let's read some of this, man. It's crazy. An Alaska teenager allegedly killed her best friend after a man she met online offered to give her millions if she showed evidence of the murder. Investigators said Denali Bremer and a bunch of other kids. Let's see. Let me just read it. Investigators said Bremer launched a plot to murder her 19-year-old friend, Cynthia Hoffman, last month. Promised her $9 million or more to, quote, rape and murder someone in Alaska and send him the videos and photographs of the murder. Now, that's a catfish doing that, right? You know, catfish, somebody you meet online, whether they have pictures or usually they'll have pictures up and you'll think you're talking to one person, but it's somebody else. You got catfished, son. Launched a plot to murder her 19-year-old friend. And the catfish was asking for video of rape and murder. And the chick was like, it's a good idea, I guess. The darkness in people, man, it is unbelievable. Bremer agreed to commit a murder for him, the indictment stated. Digital evidence and statements show Bremer was communicating with and sending videos and or photographs of the event surrounding the incident to Schillemer at his directive throughout the duration of the event. Looks like a creep, doesn't it? Creepy kid. Another creepy kid. These creepy kids these days. Creepy kids. Let's see what else we got here. Authorities said they found Hoffman's duct tape bound body in a river near a rural Anchorage hiking trail on June 2nd. Police said she died of a gunshot wound to the back of the head, but there was no evidence to show that she was sexually assaulted. Bremer was charged with first-degree murder in the online catfishing case, although police said 16-year-old Caden McIntosh pulled the trigger and 19-year-old Caleb Leyland provided the vehicle to carry out the plot. Police said McIntosh, along with Bremer, attempted to cover up the death by destroying the victim's clothing, cell phone, and purse. Bremer allegedly texted the young woman's family after she was dead, saying she dropped at a local park. All right, anyway, we got it. Can you imagine, though? Bunch of kids getting together and thinking that's a good idea. British channel ITV bans all male comedy writing teams. Again, I don't want to read a lot of this. It would probably just raise my blood pressure. But it's more the tribalization. They separate us. They put us into these little subcategories and then turn us all on each other, right? Try to identify you as one thing. And then they turn you against all the other things they've identified. Disgraced vice president of Walt Disney convicted of child. You know what? Get 6 years. Just throwing that out there. Disney. Family company, of course, guys. It's all about the children, remember. Okay? It's all about the kids, guys. YouTuber buys Michigan town and renames it Gay Hell in protest of Trump policy. And this guy literally did this. YouTuber Elijah Daniel is hoping people go to hell. Hey, see what you did there? A tiny town in Michigan that he recently purchased. Daniel, 25, announced Tuesday that he bought the town of Hell and officially renamed it Gay Hell. Wow, what kind of YouTube money is this guy making? So I'm wondering. He said it is an act of protest against the Trump administration's recent rejection of requests from U.S. embassies to fly the rainbow flag. The town's about 15 miles northwest of Ann Arbor and is believed to have a population of about 70 people. Ahead of Pride Month, Trump's administration put a ban on embassies flying pride flags, Daniel tweeted. So as of today, I'm now the owner of Hell, Michigan. I bought the whole town. In my first act as owner, I renamed my town to Gay Hell, Michigan. The only flags allowed to fly are pride. There you go. Says the comedian and musician has more than 500,000 YouTube subscribers, said the acquisition was intended to enhance his political portfolio by engaging his followers. Again, what kind of YouTube money? He's not being messed with. My YouTube channel, I'm making about $400 a month. You can look that up right now if you're interested. Look up my Social Blade. Just throwing it out there for people who think we're millionaires. I didn't watch it, but I saw a video a while back on the sidebar, and the title was YouTubers with over 100,000 subscribers make 15 grand a month. Ha! Wow. Okay. Well, not in today's YouTube, that's for sure. And I've never even seen that before anyway, that amount of money. But it's all changed now. It's all completely messed up anyway. But that is, dude, you should really just take that video down. Again, I don't know who you are. I don't know if you actually believe that. But go look up people's social blades if you want to get an idea what YouTubers make. Go like the scariest movie ever, Social Blade, and you'll see. All right. And like I said, I'm literally pulling with well over 100 million views worldwide. All the videos I've done, all the shows, everything else. I'm pulling in about $400 a month right now on YouTube. Good times, right? But this guy probably has a channel that's not getting screwed with. So he's making a lot of money and creating gay hell with it, it looks like. Kmart bans customers using religious words such as Jesus or church at its photo printing kiosks, but Islam and Quran get the all clear. Kmart has caused outrage after its photo printing kiosks banned some words. Again, guys, are you seeing this? This is banning, censorship, right? I tell you, it's a spirit, and we're seeing it again manifest in more and more places, more and more companies. All right. Yeah, I know you see it. Kmart has caused outrage after its photo printing kiosks banned some words relating to religion. Words such as Jesus, church, and Bible used in captions were deemed to be profanities and replaced with asterisks. The words Jewish and Allah were also banned, but not mosque, Islam, or Quran. It was not just religious words affected by the error. The error. They always say it was an error. When customers tried to caption photos with the forbidden words, a message came up on the screen saying profanity has been detected in text and substituted with whatever. Okay. There you go, guys. A spirit, I call it, is a spirit of censorship. California schools putting on condom races for 10 and 11-year-old students. It's no secret that public schools, which are run largely by the federal government through the Department of Education, have been deeply infected by the cancer of modern progressivism that has led to children being exposed to sickening forms of sexual perversion. What's even worse is how schools not only are teaching sex education at younger ages, but they are attempting to normalize unnatural sexual practices that are condemned clearly in Scripture. Nowhere is this seen more clearly right now than what is going on down in the state of California. A school in this largely democratic state has decided to teach children how to put on condoms by hosting condom races and actually placing a condom on a statue with an erect wiener. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. All right, America. Yes. Yes. We're doing good. These are great ideas. What could go wrong, right? What could go wrong? This has been a mainstream story, and it's one I'm still watching too. Have you guys been keeping up with this? Now it's 16 seemingly suspicious cases of tourists getting sick, assaulted, and dying in the Dominican Republic in the past year. I think we covered one of these a few weeks ago, and since then, even more people. So something's going on down there in the Dominican Republic. Something ain't right. Have you seen this yet? Extreme heat map. We're talking earlier about the weather and even France, right? But check this out. Extreme heat map of France depicts eerie screaming skull. Look at this. I always like when they do stuff like this. I put a picture up on my Instagram of I took a picture of the screen during a storm myself a little while back, and it looks exactly like a giant red dragon with little purple entities riding on its back. It's one of the craziest things. But so I've seen this, we've seen this kind of thing before. These interesting images pop up with weird weather. A lot of this stuff has been filmed with some of the hurricanes as well. You can look at some of the weird pictures, faces, and monsters that turn up during some of the hurricanes, some of the footage and the pictures they take. UK court orders forced abortion for disabled woman. British judges authorize doctors to perform an abortion on a pregnant Catholic woman with developmental disabilities and a mood disorder, despite the objections of the woman's mother and the woman herself. The woman is 22 weeks pregnant. I am acutely conscious of the fact that for the state to order a woman to have a termination where it appears that she doesn't want it is an immense intrusion, says Justice Natalie Leven. I have to operate in her best interest, not on society's views of termination, Leven explained, arguing that her decision is the best interest for the woman. The Court of Protection handles cases involving individuals judged to lack the mental capacity, and that's the point. Do you see the spirit growing, guys? Even with the old lady, the older lady, the elderly lady that they wouldn't see because she was too old. Now you got the Court of Protection handles cases involving individuals judged to lack the mental capacity to make decisions for themselves. You know, here in America, they're calling people on the right, insane, crazy. I mean, the other side gets called that as well, but you don't hear about it as much. Again, our media in America is mostly controlled by extreme left ideologies. You saw a lot of this come out with all the what was it called? The Democratic, debates they had recently. They had 2 nights, had all the candidates up there. And even watching that is so clear to me. You can see this is the ending of the old guard. Like the media is turning against Biden, even like they're making fun of him this last few days. They're talking a lot about his son, and his son had a drug problem and all this other stuff. But, you see them eat their own. And when they're eating their own, you start paying more attention to who they're promoting. And they're promoting like the socialists, like the really far left, young people coming up in the Democratic Party. And you see them trying to edge out, all the old ones, all the dinosaurs. They don't really have much use for Hillary anymore, do they? They're starting to kind of push a lot now. I'm not saying she's going anywhere. I don't know, but you get the point. If you watch that the other night, you can see that what the Democratic Party seems to be promoting now is like really far left ideology stuff. Money for everybody. I've got some stories I think in here about that. So there you go, man. The government decided you're going to have an abortion because they don't think that you're mentally capable of taking care of this. Right? There we go. Okay. Thanks, government. Oh, here we go. Elizabeth Warren. I love the crazy picture. Elizabeth Warren makes the case for gay reparations. Now, do you see what I'm saying, guys? It's the ideas. She's a little bit older. There's a lot of the younger Democrats coming up. Ocasio-Cortez, people like this, pushing really crazy far-left ideas. But, it's the ideas. It's not so much the age of the people. And now you got stuff like this. Look, Elizabeth Warren has made a campaign of promising nearly every identity group in existence some form of monetary handout. Whether it's race, age, or socioeconomic background, she's got something for you. From reparations for the descendants of slaves to paying off student loans of millennials. The media have taken this as a sign of just how serious of a candidate she is. You see, she has, quote, plans. And that's what really matters here. The fact that her plans are mostly nonsensical, not possible, and sometimes even harmful don't play into the equation. While she's not done yet, she's got a new string to pull on. There we go. There we go. Gay reparations. This has been an interesting story to watch. Angela Merkel glitching out. You may call it shaking. Is this some footage here? Let's see. Yeah, look at this. I mean, that's serious. It's happened on more than one occasion, so look at that, huh? A lot of people are wondering what it is. Is she Hitler's daughter? That's one of the questions. Is she really related to Hitler? That's a question. She's always using a lot of occult symbolism. I think that's interesting. Maybe it's a multitude of demons. Maybe she can't hold all the demons back that are inside her flesh. I kid, relax, calm down. Maybe, though. Maybe it's true. Then I don't know, maybe not. Maybe she just has a mental or a medical issue. I don't know. Oh. Shocking before and after photos reveal the truth about the widespread crop failures the U.S. is facing in 2019. Just the images. Again, just from Michael Snyder. So let's see what it says here. This is the biggest news story in America so far this year. The mainstream media is finally starting to understand the gravity of what we're facing. Just consider the following quote from a recent Quartz article. The stories across the Midwest are wrenching. Scrolling through the No Plant 19 hashtag turns up dozens of posts about farmers staring out at soggy fields or farm equipment foundering in deep mud. It's likely many will see their harvest devastated this year and global grain prices could spike. So here's just a few examples. One on the left is what it was a year ago, and now it's this on the right. Same there on the left, looking good, right? Not so much. Nebraska. Kansas. Illinois. Wow, huh? There we go. Birds and the Beads, BC tweens, British Columbia tweens get explicit accidental sex education. Again, it's an accident, guys. Sorry. Like whenever they get called out on this stuff, every single time, oh, it's a glitch. It was a glitch. A glitch. Or is an accident, right? An explicit sex guide describing fetishes and drug use was offered to preteens inside a BC classroom, prompting outrage from parents and an official apology from the school district. The sex guide features cartoon images accompanied by explicit details of sex acts and fetishes. I don't even need to know what they are, but we'll take a look at some of the pictures. Okay, there's that. Okay, look at that. It's an S&M spider couple. He's got the whip. Cool, this is great. This is good for kids. It's a good way to introduce them to these kind of ideas. There you go. There you have it, sickos. Creating that kind of crap. Project Veritas, you've never checked this guy out. I did a broadcast on some of his work recently. Check out Project Veritas, new Google Resist Doc shows internal beginner's guide to protesting. So they're literally, this is it. Look at that. This is a Google document. This is reach out, resist at google.com. Beginner's guide to protesting, how to guide, what to expect, how you can help. And this is about protesting, again, Trump, the right. Right? So the Google itself here is involved in creating these kinds of people, creating these kinds of ideologies, you know, holding hands with so-called Antifa. I'm saving this because it'll come up in a video in the future, I'm sure. Another big point I was trying to make earlier, GLAAD's bold new campaign, an LGBT constitutional amendment. So again, this is where I tell you that movement's being weaponized by this system and being used. After years of fighting homophobic news coverage and working to bring about inclusion in the entertainment industry, guys, I don't know about you, I can't turn on a TV or watch a movie anymore without there has, you know, some gay character. Has to be a gay character, has to be a trans character. Usually they're the funniest, usually they're the coolest, usually, you know, they always survive the horror movie, they live. I mean, it's just like we're already being conditioned with this stuff so freaking hardcore. It's so obvious. It's only, what, it's under 4% of the population, but you wouldn't know that from any modern media, even commercials. There's some commercial on the other day for something, two guys sitting on the couch kissing each other's shoulders. It's like, dude, I don't need to see this. But again, that's just me. I know a lot of you feel the same way. This is not a hatred towards our homosexual friends out there. It's a hatred, if anything, towards the obvious agendas and what's at play here and the weaponizing of this stuff. And it's going full-on pervert, too. It's going to go full-on pervert. Already is. It already is. Full-on perversion, man, this stuff. So, you know, yeah. I don't even want to get into this one too much. But anyway, this is what they're going to do, man. They're going to be pushing for constitutional amendments, you know, for more protection. What are they being protected from, though? Like I said, I mean, they've already come so far. I mean, this whole movement, the way it's been weaponized, the way it's being used, it's in everything. This is also, you can look back through, again, a lot of these dystopian movies and TV shows and a lot of these ideas about the end of the world and the end of culture. But ultimately, it's not just really the gay issue. This is all about stopping people from reproducing. You know, it's anti-reproduction. That's also part of it. So in a bigger picture way I always see it is kind of Satan's agenda of just his hatred for humanity. Steal, kill, and destroy. No matter which arm it uses, this Lovecraftian creature, no matter which arm it's using at whatever time, it still has the same goal that it had from the very beginning. It's to destroy all of us. Save that for a second. Actually, I take that back. That might be a good one to check out for a second. Have you seen this yet? I just saw it a few days ago. 5G from the guy installing it. I don't know this guy. I don't know his channel. I don't know anything about him. You can read the comments, though. But I'll just play some of this out and just listen to what he says. This guy apparently is one of the guys installing 5G. So let's see what some of his thoughts are on this, okay? Let's check it out.
Question of the day. Ian, what do you think about 5G? For those of you that don't know, I'm a tower climber. I climb cell phone towers and install the cellular equipment that allows you to keep scrolling. And I'm currently in 5G training. And I was already concerned about this technology before getting in there and actually learning some of the science about it. So let me give you some of the science about it. The radio frequency that our towers currently emit is non-ionizing radiation with a long footprint over the ground, so it's able to dissipate and spread out. Right? It's currently being broadcast anywhere from like 1.5 to 2.5, 2.8 megahertz. Up close, if you take radio frequency close, it superheats the water molecules in your brain, eyes, and testicles. So it's a very real thing. You could render yourself sterile or a splitting headache for days, or I cooked the top of my skull and left me useless for the rest of the day. And that's at short range, at a relatively low power. The way 5G is going to work is it is going to broadcast in gigahertz, not megahertz. We're talking about 30 plus gigahertz they're estimating, which means 15,000 times stronger than what we're pushing out right now. It's going to actually go at a much steeper peak. It's going to almost be broadcast straight at the ground to hit more receivers that are then going to transmit it outwards. The plan is to install these small cells on the billboards and street lights, sides of buildings, in the corner of your office building, or in the hallway of your apartment complex, so that they can get lightning fast speeds. Well, here's the thing. The RF that we've been broadcasting isn't really damaging to you, though they can't tell the long-term effects. But because it dissipates over distance and it's not a concentrated thing, the radio frequency we're broadcasting now has a really long wave trough, right? So even if you're getting hit with it, you're not absorbing a lot. That's why if I take it close range, I eat it, but you don't feel it down off the tower. It's not going to be that way with 5G. It's going to be in the corner of your office. They're talking about putting a 38 band MIMO antenna in the back of every car so they can talk to each other and self-drive. Now, 5G, its waveform is much tighter, where 4G, 3G, and 2G have fairly long wave troughs so that we can reach distances and have a greater footprint coming off the tower. It's not necessary with 5G. It's going to be broadcast in what's called a millimeter wave, which is much more tightly focused.
Okay, I don't want to play the whole thing. Like I said, it's YouTube's weirdo algorithm. Sometimes it doesn't like you playing all of somebody's video, so I'm going to stop it there, but I highly suggest you go check it out for yourself and make up your own mind. Again, I just stumbled on this video a few days ago. I'd never heard of his channel before. I don't know him, but you can always check out the comments section Always fills in some blanks, at least for me, on how the audience is receiving this. But yeah, there you go. 5G from the guy installing it, Ian Ferguson. Check it out sometime. Google declares organics to be a lie and supplement scams and latest insane anti-health search manipulation. I'm going to tell you something kind of goofy, but since I had the heart attack about a year ago, again, I've started a whole new exercise regime, and every day, most days, sometimes I miss a day, but I always do a treadmill, at least do a couple hours on there, or a couple hours. I do a couple of miles on there. And a lot of times I'll listen to music, of course, like everybody else. But I was listening to that song, I think it's Uprising. You ever heard that song? It starts off with that cool bass line. Who sings that? I can't remember, man, but the song's Uprising. Anyway, I was listening to that. And, I'm a real creative person anyway. I'm always in my head most of the time. So every time I listen to music, I'm always picturing myself on stage with my own kind of band and what it would look like. And I was listening to Uprising, and I was picturing, being up on a stage with 3 other people. We were in some kind of an auditorium. Everybody's wearing just gray and dark colors and stuff. And outside, there's these artificially intelligent, like police driving around in these mini tanks. But all the tanks have Google. Like Google runs everything. And Google's on the robots that are coming to get us. And Google's everywhere. And we're all performing, in the underground. I don't want to keep going. I can go on for... This is dorky stuff, It's just the way I think. But I was just picturing Google, these white Google tanks cruising through these just destroyed cities with these artificially intelligent robots, that look like humans, seeking out what's left of humanity. So Google declares organics to be a lie and supplements scams and latest insane anti-health search manipulation. If you thought Google was only censoring political content, think again. Just like I warned in a previous Natural News article, this is from Mike Adams at Natural News. Google is now censoring all content about organics, homeopathy, naturopathy, chiropractic, herbs, nutrition, and supplements. Of course, guys, that's scary, man. That is some scary crap. Again, that shows you the agenda, the anti-human agenda. They want us sick. I went through this whole process in real life. Again, most of y'all remember when I talked about this a while back, but I went from the medication to now mainly diet, exercise. Diet, I'm mainly vegetarian, but I have some chicken and some fish here and there. And herbs. I got off all the heavy stuff. So, and now it's like they're just trying to take these choices away. Look at that right there. It says recently a shocking discovery was made. Google is auto-completing the search fields of billions of users with false information. And look at that. That's actually some crazy experiment you can go run on your own if you're interested. Go on Google, put in a controversial term, and then see what autofills for you. Organic is a, look at that, lie, always non-GMO, sham, myth, waste of money, marketing gimmick, always non-GMO logo. That's crazy, man. They're controlling the narrative, man, right there. This is what mind control looks like. Look at this. Supplements are, this is a Google autofill, bad, useless, not regulated, bad for you, not FDA approved, dangerous, scams, garbage. There's one good for you. Oh boy. And that's it, guys. Right? Right? F Google. Seriously, hoping something changes. We're all waiting on it. Operation Broken Heart, 51 arrests made in Texas in a child sex crime sting. Just wanted to throw that in because that's always good news. There's really nothing else to report on. I just wanted to show that. That's good. It's good that some of these people are getting caught. Special LGBT edition Oreos indoctrinate kids about trans pronouns. Share your pronouns with pride. Again, we know this is, but for me, the symbolism was interesting here on the Oreo. You've literally got the as above, so below paradigm a few times there. You've got the pyramids, one on top, one on the bottom, side by side over there on right there. And then you literally have the double cross also right there on the top. Just right there, man. The double cross and the as above, so below paradigm. Here we go, guys. Special LGBT Oreos. Go get the kids and a big glass of ice cold milk. This is a really weird ad. I just wanted to show you. Bernie Sanders uses footage of, there wasn't a, remember this dude got arrested. Let me see where it is. In March 2016, anti-Trump protester Thomas DeMassimo jumped the security fence and stormed Trump up on the stage. And they arrested him. Anyway, Bernie Sanders is using the footage from that day for his new political ad, it seems. Let's see. Here it is. This is really weird. No matter what, it's just weird to me. Wait, hold on. Yeah, I want you to get the full effect of this one. Okay, check this out.
Do it myself. I know it's not. Do it myself. I know it's not. I know it's not. Do it myself. I know it's not.
I mean, seriously, man, it's just, we are living in idiocracy. I'm almost done with that video, by the way. I've got one titled that. We're literally living in idiocracy. But yeah, weird, right? It's like a Tim and Eric. It's like a skit from the Tim and Eric Awesome Show. Tim and Eric Awesome. It was an awesome show. Great job. No skirts. Bradford schoolgirls ordered to wear gender-neutral trousers. Just more of this silliness. And public college pays pregnant moms to smoke weed to study impact on unborn babies. What could go wrong? Right? And that actually concludes our stories for this week. So let me, there we go. I want to jump over here to the chat real quick, guys, and just say thanks again for being here. Every week it changes. There's some kind of trends we see from time to time that stick around. But, last week we had more paranormal. Unfortunately, we keep seeing more of this LGBT agenda stuff, but it's not going away. As I said, I believe it's going to be a part of the whole new kind of system, and we're seeing that settle in now. At least they're trying to. So, yes, I just wanted to say, once again, thank you for being here. I wanted to make a little announcement I'd mentioned at the beginning of the show. I have to cancel my show for tomorrow afternoon with Casey. I already talked to him about this because here's the deal. Again, I didn't want to make a video about this. I don't want to make it, some kind of a big dramatic thing. But, some of you guys, especially here on the live shows, this is more of kind of where the community is a lot of the time. You guys know that I had a heart attack last August. So for the last month, I even mentioned this to one of my last live shows here, that I've been feeling those chest pains a little bit. So it kept going, and it's been like about a month off and on. I've been getting the same feelings I had when I had the heart attack. And I just keep blowing it off, man. I'm thinking, it'll pass, and then it'll go away for a few days, and it comes back. And anyway, over the weekend, it came back a little more. So, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and tomorrow, I'm just going to go straight to the doctor because I called to make an appointment today. And they said, if you're having those kind of pains, just go into the ER where they treated me, which is at a veterans hospital. So I'm going to go to the hospital tomorrow, dropping Chubbs off at mom and dad's house, and just going to see what's going on. I have a medical background too, though. I was in the Coast Guard. I was a corpsman for my last 4 years. Only thing I'm thinking is I think I may have some blood clots or something. I have 2 stents they put in last August. So I'm thinking maybe a blood clot developed in one of them or something. I don't know, but we'll see. I'm not the doctor here. But so that's it. So I got to cancel my show for tomorrow. I also have a show I'd planned for this Saturday, a live show with my Patreons. I've already written you guys a message. I could be out in just the afternoon. I don't know. Maybe it's something else that's, easily treatable, or, I don't want to have to stay in there, but maybe they put me in there for a few days or something. So again, if they do, I just want to get the word out. Cancel the show tomorrow. I'll reschedule with Casey. And then I had to cancel the live show this Saturday. So far, still kind of on hold. We'll see. But if it does have to be canceled, then we'll just totally do a new one. And I look forward to doing that with you guys as well. You see, I feel awkward telling you guys about this. But again, a lot of you already know about the situation. I just want you to know what's going on. Okay. I'm not looking for your coins. I'm not begging for your money. I could use your prayers and then just your patience. Because at the same time, I love what I'm doing. I got a couple videos. I got a Britney Spears one I thought was done, but it wasn't. And I got my Idiocracy videos. So I've got some videos I want to finish up here too, and more broadcasts. So I'm going to stop rambling. Typically, I like to close my shows lately here with a short prayer. So thanks, guys, for bearing with me here. Heavenly Father, thanks again for having this format. Thanks again for the wonderful audience, for having so many people here that can join together from so many different backgrounds and beliefs. Yet we can all come together and look at these things that are happening in the world as it all seems to be changing so quick. So thank you, Lord, for that. And again, if there's anybody out there, Father, that needs comfort right now, maybe they're living in fear for the things they're seeing and witnessing, Father, please, put them at ease. Guide us all, protect us all, Lord, please, and help me out this week too, if it be in your will, at the old hospital. And otherwise, I love you, and in Jesus' name I pray, amen. There you go, guys. Short and sweet. Hey, man, seriously, thanks again for being here. Like I said, I'm not going to be going and making a video on my channel. I'm in the hospital, guys. This is what's going on. I just don't want to do it. I don't want to draw attention. Plus, that stuff, anytime you start getting into being sick or something like that or being hurt, there's whole groups on YouTube that'll just twist that stuff and come after you, and it can get really ugly and stuff. So I struggled between how do I tell some of you, or should I not? But then I don't know what'll happen. Like I said, I don't want to be in there for a couple weeks or something, but I'm rambling. I'm going to shut up now. Anyway, I'll keep you guys updated on everything. Take care of yourselves. Thanks for being here. I'll see you later.